Hi, this is Mato. In this video, I will show you an amazing chess game. This is something that you don't see every day. This is the game between Zhao Jun and Xiu Deshun, played in China in 2011. Zhao Jun is a chess player from Australia. In this game, he had white pieces and he started with d4. Now he played knight to f6, c4, e6, knight to c3, bishop to b4, Nimzo Indian opening, and after a3 we have Samisch variation. c5 was played, e3, b6, bishop to d3, knight to c6, knight to e2, bishop to a6, attacking c4 pawn. e4 was played, opening the way for the bishop to come into the game. Black castled kingside, bishop to g5, pinning the knight, perhaps intending to push pawn to e5. That's why black played h6, attacking the bishop. Bishop goes to h4, and after g5, black got rid of the pin, but created weaknesses on the king side. d6. Now perfectly playable move in this position is h4. Zhao's choice was f4. Knight to a5 was played, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, and white castled. Now black played knight to h5, attacking the bishop. Well, we have reached a critical position of the game. What would you play in this position if you had white pieces? How would you solve these problems? How would you protect the bishop, or would you play bishop to perhaps f2, maybe to e1? How about protecting c4 pawn? Looks like black is going to win the pawn. What is the solution here? Well, Zhao found an extraordinary solution. Well, he captured the pawn on d6. Well, maybe black was extremely happy because he just won the bishop. Looks good for black. e5 was played, cutting queen off from the king side, but queen likes to stay close to her king. And now white played knight to g3. Black takes, and if now white takes, then black would play f5 and black would have a winning position. What does that mean? That means that white can't take the knight. What else he can play? He would be 2 pieces down if he doesn't take the knight. Well, Zhao had very good imagination. He played rook to f6, preventing f5 pawn push. And now black was getting worried that queen is coming to g4 and he could be checkmated. That's why he played king to g7. The plan is to bring rook to g8 and make room for the king to escape. Okay, queen is coming to g4 now. But let's check what will happen if black decides to play knight to f5. What will happen then? Okay, we would have this variation then. Queen to g5, king to h8, check, knight takes, check, king goes to g8 and checkmate. Okay, so black saw that, so he played rook to g8, and only now white takes the knight. What white intends to do next is to bring rook from a to f1 and put pressure on this f7 pawn. Black saw a solution in bringing knight to d8. Okay, so this is the move. Knight goes first to b7, and after a rook from a to f1, knight goes to d8, and now pawn is protected. But this created another problem in the black camp, because this knight is now cutting off communications between these 2 rooks. Okay, white played queen to e4, attacking the rook on a8 and also eyeing the square h7. Black played queen to b7, protecting the rook and offering to exchange queens, because then black would be winning if queens exchanged. In this variation, white can play in this position, white can play queen to h7, and after king to f8 he can play bishop to e4 and he would be better because he can win the rook now. Instead, for going for this variation, he decided to enter extraordinary variation. So this is the first move, stopping queen exchanges, but with this move he also gave black time to protect h7 square. What now? Again we have reached critical position of the game. What would you play in this position if you had white pieces? Well, Zhao found extraordinary move. Unbelievable. Queen to g6 check. Would you ever play this? Did he forget that pawns capture diagonally? Well, he didn't forget. But let's first check what would happen if black doesn't take. Then the game could have continued like this. And that would be the end. Okay, so after queen to g6 check, black decided to capture the queen and to hope for the best, because he is going to win if he only can survive the attack. Okay, rook to g6 was played. King to h7, check. King to h6, check again. King to h7, check again. King to h6, and now another rook joins the attack. Check. King to h5, and after rook to h4, black resigned. Why he resigned? Because he has only one move, king to g5, after which you would have rook to g6, checkmate. What a game. Look at all these pieces just standing, watching the king being slaughtered. Didn't Zhao play like Mikhail Tal in this game? Thank you for watching this video, and I hope that you enjoyed it.